Here's your evening briefing from Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel up here. Joey's sitting in Wells, BC, 3,953 feet above sea level. Very nice thunderstorm line going through Saskatchewan at the time of recording, and that energy is going to end up in Manitoba and make for a tornado threat in southeastern Manitoba. Hank Vliestra was out chasing today, and he got this time lapse, which I think is absolutely incredible. Love it, Tank. Great work. Thanks for being out there and chasing them storms. As you can see, that storm line is moving across the prairies, and it's kicking up a lot of wind. We got, reports of gusts maybe up to 130 kilometers per hour in the bow section of that. That's what they call it, a bow echo, when you have a storm line that kind of looks like that. I'm not going to say it's a derecho, but it's sort of that same idea. The storm line is bowed out, and the strong winds are at the elbow of the bow. Okay, anyways, let's get on with the show.
There it is. This is bad news. My God. Anything can happen. Get on!
I'll watch the video later. Ain't dry mopping this. If you wouldn't mind hitting like, share, and subscribe, by the way, too, I'd appreciate that. Anything to keep my channel afloat and alive. I'm not talking about BC tonight. We do have that risk of heavy rains, maybe even atmospheric river conditions. Friday and into the weekend. We'll be talking about that in the podcast tomorrow night for sure here at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the Comedy Meteorology Report. But as well, I'll be probably making a video about that in the morning for BC, looking at our weekend weather. Okay, so herein lies the problem now that storm line has moved across, that it will make for some nighttime thunderstorms through eastern parts of Saskatchewan, bordering into Manitoba. It will begin to develop most likely in this Area A. Some of those storms could turn severe if they pop up early enough. Then Area B is where you're going to see up to 4 centimeter hail and 50 to 70 mils of rain in some of those downbursts. Up to 110 kilometer an hour wind, not out of the question. Then you get towards Winnipeg, and that's where the risk of tornado shows up on the board. That 3 to 6 centimeter hail. There's been ping pongs and golf balls and things like that already today. No reason to assume that that isn't possible again tomorrow, as the same storm line basically presents itself into eastern Manitoba. Strong gusts of wind possible down there in the foothills. For BC on Thursday, not too bad. The risk of non-severe thunderstorms in Cranbrook, that's spilling over from the Alberta side. Up in the Stewart-Cassiar there, risk of non-severe thunderstorms, and same with the Dawson City, Yukon, just to the east of there actually. So it has been wild tonight. We do have special air quality statements still along Vancouver Island. A lot of smoke from fires there. Good news is the rain is coming. We'll be talking about that lots. Here's the storm line right now at its current location. In this one, we're talking ping pong, maybe toonie-sized hail, 110 kilometer an hour winds. Up in the north one here, even stronger, I would think there. Basically calling for the same thing now. Rainfall warnings up in northern Saskatchewan. A lot of the fires are going to be hit by rain that's going to be tailing in behind this low, so that is great news for them. Heat is the big story in eastern parts of the country. Some of those heat warnings are now off in Ontario, but we're still seeing them showing up for a little while longer into Thursday in Nova Scotia, where the fire danger has been very high. Newfoundland, where heat warning is there, fire danger has been very high. There's been some fire smoke reported there in St. John's, Newfoundland. I've seen from friends there. Temperatures near 28 degrees there. Cooler winds will come from offshore there sometime soon, ending Thursday evening up in Labrador. So back to the main pulse of the show. We're looking at these strong thunderstorms moving in this big long line into Manitoba tonight, sometime around midnight. Most of those storms will have been in by then. Dauphin probably seeing some big ones up there, and things will peter out a little bit in the night, but we see some of that energy still there. It's all along this front of the low, and it's going to start popping up early on Thursday morning. Big time thunderstorms up in the north there. Thunderstorms popping over to Ontario Thursday. 2 o'clock, there you go. Bam, there it is. Big storm right by Winnipeg. Big line forming up. That's the one we're worried about. That's the thing that could do the damage. That's what we're concerned about for our friends in Manitoba, southeastern corner of Manitoba. We'll just go back a little bit here. We'll look at the convective available potential index. In fact, we'll even switch models. go to the more detailed Canadian model. So as we see Thursday, early morning, strong Cape value popping in from the south there. You can see that line where that thunderstorm line wants to form. By 10 in the morning, you can see some of that Cape value already pushing up above 2,000 joules per kilogram, getting primed right in time to make it to Winnipeg when those storms are going to start popping sometime around noon to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's some strong Cape values, way over 3,000 joules per kilogram. We're talking about big time tornado potential if that is going to go on there. So our concern is for our friends in Manitoba tomorrow. Our concern is that they're going to be safe. We'll just play this through. Now we're looking at the rainfall hitting into northern Saskatchewan tonight. That's a lot of good rain on a lot of fires up there. Just looking at where some of the fires are, bam, as you can see, a lot of them taking rain. So that's the good news out of all this. If there's any good news to be found, we'll see what happens. I don't know. The risk of tornado potential into areas like Winnipeg tomorrow afternoon, that is concerning. I'm not saying there's going to be a tornado in Winnipeg, but it is concerning. But the good news would be that fires taking rain, that's going to really help. It's going to really change the story there. As we look at Thursday afternoon, we see where these individual clusters of thunderstorms are predicted to be in the Canadian model, one going just north of Winnipeg, just north side of. So with any luck, Winnipeg will be spared from taking a direct hit from one of these thunderstorms. But to be warned, pay attention to all messages from Environment Canada and be ready to do what your local authorities need you to do, get underground and whatnot, should you have tornado warning pop down in your area. There's a few tornado warnings today in Saskatchewan, so again, it's not out of the question. In fact, it's looking pretty ripe for a very, very strong thunderstorm situation to be happening in Manitoba tomorrow afternoon. Okay, make sure you hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, keep supporting Joey Only. I'll be back here again. Good thing we're taking some rain in those fires up north, though. That's the good news on this show. There's always a little bit of good news, right?